excited. This is my first time doing two of these guys. So I'm going to split up today. I'm mostly going to deliver the messages from your guides. So I'll be the channel and conduit for getting to as many of you as I can in the time that we have. I'll tell you a little bit about how that works in a minute. And then tomorrow's talk will be more of a workshop thing where I'll teach you how to connect with your guides. So I hope some of you guys can come back for that because it's going to be really fun. But I used to kind of do them both. So I'm Victoria Shaw, and I am I'm excited to be here. And my story is kind of interesting because I was originally trained as a research psychologist. I went to Princeton, I went to Columbia, I studied the mind and the brain and how people understand the world. And then I got to the end of that journey and something was wrong, something was missing, something wasn't there for me. And it took me probably about another 10, 15 years to realize what that was. But I left my career and it took some time to raise my family. And it was then that I discovered this whole world of intuition and woo and energy, and it changed my life. It changed everything about my life. And I started to see all these out-of-the-box practitioners, which probably don't seem so out of the box to you that are here today, but it sure did to me. I started acupuncture and cranial sacral therapy, and then medical intuitives and astrologers and psychics. And, you know, again, it changed my life. And everybody kept saying, Victoria, you have this too. This is what you're supposed to do. And it took me a while to get the memo. But when I finally listened and made that commitment to build my own spiritual and intuitive connection, it was miraculous. It was amazing. And so I've spent the last few years of my life using those gifts to support others, but also teaching people how to connect with your very own gifts. Because I still get readings, and I still have mentors because I feel that we all need that support. But what I believe is any good intuitive reading, or really any good information in the world, when you're using it right, it's there to awaken that deeper knowing in you. Because we have all the answers inside of us, and we all have our own unique spiritual connection. That's what I hope to do for you today through this series of readings, and really everything that I do is to help you remember a little bit more of who you really are, and to find your own answers within. Okay? That's my shtick. And I'm going to talk really briefly about who your spirit guides are, how I work, and then I'm going to pass this back around for you to put your little questions in here. I often get intuitive readings off a name. So if you can give me a name, that helps me tune into your energy. If you don't want me to say your name out loud, just put a little something around it that, like, don't say this out loud, or you could put a little no sign as long as I can still read the name. Okay? But if you're okay with having your name being read out loud and know who you are, that's great too, because I can also often get follow-up questions, right? And it often can make it a little bit more directly there for you. Now, everyone is not going to get chosen, as you can imagine, because I'm not that good. I'm not that fast, but I'm pretty good and I am pretty fast. But the cool thing about these experiences I find every time is that even if your question doesn't get chosen, you will get your answers through someone else. Okay, it works that way every time. This universe operates in perfect synchronicity. So don't worry, you will all leave today with a little bit of wisdom, or maybe a lot of wisdom to help you and support you in your journey. Okay, so raise your hand if you still need cards. Okay, so we're going to send some back over there, please. And who else? And we're going to send some here and here. And then send these here and then send them around. And that should get everyone. Okay? And on those cards, you can ask really anything you want to know from your guides, your higher self, source. Okay? And I'll collect them. And again, put your name on it if you don't mind. But if you don't want me to say your name, you'll let me know. Okay? And I will not say who you are. The good news is I don't know any of you, so I won't be able to make eye contact. All right, I'm going to say a little prayer to set the energy, because that really helps me as I'm doing the reading. So I'm going to talk a little bit about who your guides are. We can now collect those cards. So I'm going to ask you to do just for myself, all the beautiful beings in this room, and those of you watching remotely, because you'll get your answers too, friends. As I open my heart to divine, unconditional love and ask to connect to my highest self, guides and angels, and all the beautiful beings receiving these teachings today. as typically a child versus receive and communicate their wisdom. I ask to let go of any expectations I have about the outcome of how this is supposed to go. Ask that the outcome of this work serve the highest and greatest good. Amen. So we all have spirit guides, right? We're all actually spiritual beings having human experience, okay? You don't have a soul. You are a soul. You are a spirit. But for the sake of argument right now, you're choosing to participate in this human experience, which is awesome. It's a badge of honor. Those of us that choose to do this, both for ourselves and also for the universe. So congratulations for you for signing up to be human right now. But you have a soul. You are a soul. And you also, as you come into human form, what happens is we make this agreement to forget our divine origins. We forget all the things that we know. Over about the first 7 years of life, and I know this from being a developmental and cognitive psychologist, a lot of quick development happens in your brain such that you start to forget all of the things that you knew when you came in, when you were just a pure spirit, becoming human, and you become more humanized, right? More conditioned into this consensual reality. So we forget. And for many of us up until now, and I do believe this is changing, we also start to lose our connection to our spiritual selves, okay? So you put the blindfold on, but there's a part of you that doesn't forget. There's a part of you that remains in spirit form. You could call that your higher self, okay? And you also have other beings here to support you, that are holding and remembering for you, that remember why you're here, what you want to do, that are constantly noticing what you're picking up, what you're wanting, what you're desiring, what you're focusing on, what you're wanting to create, right? And they're here to support you with that. Okay? They're always around you. They're always helping you. You don't have to do anything special. They're there, whether you like it or not, but you like it very much. And so what we really need to do is learn how to. Right? And I often use the example of like one of those blind team building obstacle courses, which maybe they're doing very loudly in that other room, right? Where, one person has a blindfold on, you're on the sidelines and you're coaching them through an obstacle course. That's what your spirit guides are like, right? They see it all. And so they can help you. But you're the one on the ground. You're the one navigating this. You want to be navigating this, right? So it's actually a really beautiful cooperation between your human self, your higher self, and your guides. Okay? So today when I tune into your guides, I might get a specific guide, right? I might tap into your loved ones because they're in spirit form too, and they're often supporting us as well. I may tap into source, all that is your higher self, right? All of the above, but I always like to kind of frame it as spirit guides because I don't know, when I think about spirit guides, it just made me feel so wonderful because I didn't have the best childhood. And I felt very alone for most of my life. And when I realized that I had this guidance available to me all the time, just something in me changed. Like my heart opened a little bit. And so I like to do that for all of you too. Okay? The information is coming from lots of good places. And the litmus test is, how does it feel? Does it feel right to me? And if it doesn't feel right to you, even if it comes out of my lips, and like I said, I'm very good at this. But if it doesn't sound right to you, let it go. Because you know inside what it is. Okay? So I'm going to collect these guys now, and then I will pick. So I'll get in trouble. There you go. Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah, I love that. Or better yet, pass your cards to the end, and then I will. This one. And then I will. And if you don't choose, I'll come back to your seat. I'll come back. I'll come back. I need to get my steps. Thank you. All right. Anyone else? Yes. Okay. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. All right, last one. not throwing out. Okay. All right, last one. Beautiful. Okay. I feel like I'm going to pull something on you. That's not a question. If that actually. I love this because it takes all of the pressure from me. I don't have to like, who do I call? Okay. I know you are there. Would you please be more flashing neon sign? Oh, I love it. I am learning to see, recognize, and use you. Please teach me. I don't know if that's really a question, Arnie, but I'm going to try to tune in and come back tomorrow because I will teach you. They will teach you. But I'm going to speak on this a little bit because it's such a good topic. It's such a good question. You know, we do want the neon sign, and oftentimes if you ask it, you'll get it. But what often happens is you ask for the neon sign, and then without realizing it, you go like this. Right? You go like this. Oh, that can't be it. Oh, that can't be it. I did a whole episode on my podcast. How do I know it's a sign? Right? It's a whole episode and ways to know, like, is this really a sign? And then about a week later, something happened, and it was pretty remarkable. And it was a sign that I really needed. It was moving forward with my business, my other business, my retreat property. And it was a pretty remarkable sign. But I get on the phone with a friend. I'm like, how do I know if it's really a sign? I don't know. And my friend said, wait, didn't you just do a podcast episode on this big one? So even me, right? Sometimes we go like this. So the neon sign is flashing, but we're not. So it's important. I always say, if you think it's a sign, it probably is. Start listening. Gather more information. You don't have to make a big decision right away. You can keep asking. And remember, too, the guides are reminding me to say, oftentimes, the voice of your soul and the voice of your guides is very subtle. It's very subtle. Because we have to learn to listen to those little nudges, those little things. And again, it's a matter of resonance. Does this feel good to me? Does this feel right to me? So often, you know, I'll have a question or a thought or something I'm thinking about. And, you know, I'll call a friend and I'll be talking about something else and they'll give me my answer. Right? That's your guides and the universe working. It's always working through you. Okay? The other thing I want to say about receiving information from your guides, and I'm going to talk about this a lot more tomorrow, so come back. It's free. At least, I don't know if you have to pay to be here, but it's free. It's free for me. Is that everything in this universe works? It's something called the law of attraction, right? So the energy that we put out is what we bring back. That includes your intuition and your spirit guides, right? So you have a longing, you have a question, you have a desire to connect to that, and they're there. You have drawn them in. But if you're not in an energetic resonance yet where you're ready to receive that, right? They may be there. They may be right there, but you are going like this. Okay? So it's around developing your trust, and it's around having faith, even though I don't see you right now, because that's how you start to open the inroads. Okay? So I'll talk more about that tomorrow. But thank you, Ari. That was a beautiful question. Okay. This one's from Emma. What is my higher purpose here on earth? Oh, just that, huh? All right, we tune in to Emma, but really to everyone asking this question. You know, purpose can mean so many different things. And I always get, first and foremost, and this is for you, my friend, one of the higher purposes that many of us have is to develop self-love. To develop self-love, to own, to love, and to honor ourselves. And that is a really big one for you, my friend, to really feel into that. So often we think of purpose as doing. Something I have to do, accomplish, create, right? How many of you think of purpose that way, right? Yeah, because we're taught that. And it doesn't mean that you're not going to create amazing things, right? I think that what I do is in line with my purpose, part of my purpose, one of my purposes, right? And sometimes I create really great things, but I know it's deeper than that. My purpose is to wake up every morning and to be the best me that I can be. My purpose is to wake up every morning and learn to love life and myself more and more and more and more. And again, this is a collective, right? And so the more that we enjoy our lives and enjoy ourselves and fill our own cup, the more that we invite everyone else to do. Okay? But for you specifically, my friend, your purpose is around learning to honor and value yourself more. Okay? And then if you have specific questions for me about the doing, I can answer those too, but I really need a little more 411. Sue. Woo. Okay. Am I with the right mate presently? I hope that person is She did not cross out her name. So I can't answer that question for you. Right? There are certain questions that we must answer for ourselves. And one of the things that I try never to do as an intuitive guide is to give advice and tell people what to do. It's always around giving guidance. And sometimes your guides are insistent. They're like, you really don't want to go that way. But for the most part, we do free will, right? It's we want to honor that. I'm going to tune into your question a little bit deeply because I see there's a lot here. And there's things that this partner does that you're not sure about. You're not sure about. Like it's, and you're not sure about yourself. If that makes sense in this relationship. So I want to get a little bit more, because again, this is kind of public and it involves two people, not just one. So I'm going to tune back into Sue a little bit. I also feel some resentments and some anger you have towards this person. And oftentimes when we have these unresolved resentments, anger is a sign that a boundary's been crossed, right? It's healthy, it's good. But resentment is often a sign that we've given too much. And oftentimes, too, the guys are prompting me to say, and it's true in this case, resentment can also be a program we have running from earlier in life. If we learned it from someone else, we had a parent that modeled that kind of resentment, and we got like that too. Or maybe, we even felt as a child that we were doing all the giving with our friends, with our parents, with our siblings, and so we kind of got that going. And the case with you is, I think, and this is always the case, but a lot of the energy that you're bringing to this relationship is old energy. It's old childhood stuff that you are bringing to the table in the context of this this connection. And so it would behoove you to be reflective on that and to tune into, wow, where in my childhood did I have these feelings, and how can I heal that within myself? Okay, because that will help with the relationship. But the guys were also saying, more importantly, because the time that we live is in the now. We don't want to spend a lot of time in the past. Which is sometimes knowing the past, understanding what we're projecting onto the present and future can help us stop that train from going forward. Okay? But they also say, you know what you want to do. You know what you want to do, but you're in a process of figuring out. It's not, I would say, it's not whether I'm going to stay or go. It's how can I be more of myself in this relationship, and can I be more of myself in this relationship? Does that make sense? And I feel that as you start to ask that question, a couple of things are going to happen. Number one, you're going to understand how to be more of yourself and honor yourself in partnership and in relationship, which is one of the things I think you specifically came here to do, especially looking at your history. And two, the relationship will shake itself out from there, because as you're asking that question, the answer will become apparent, right? As you start to honor yourself, as you start to figure out, what do I need? What do I want? What do I deserve? The partners, they're going to show up or not, okay? Because it really has less to do about them than it does about you. Does that make sense? Okay, sending you a ton of love. And you are someone who's welcome to come talk to me more afterwards if you want for a longer conversation that can be a little more private. Okay. How are we doing so far? Good? All right. Nancy. Whatever needs to come through. Okay. Does Nancy mind identifying herself so I can just tune into your energy? Hi, Nancy. Wait, which Nancy? Nancy M. Okay. Whatever needs to come through. Oh my gosh. Do you have questions about your career? No?
More like
Okay, because they're just showing me your career. Yeah. And are you already in a healing and helping capacity, or is this something you're wanting to transition into? It feels like you are already a little bit. What do you do?
I used to do like
Okay. Yeah, I was feeling like you were like a nurse, so that sounds like in the ballpark. Yeah, one of the things that you're working on, that work was very exhausting. It was very exhausting because you're a bit of an empath. So you know what that means, right? Empaths are people that are super sensitive, which is a gift, and super compassionate, which is a gift. but have the tendency, usually because of the way that they've been brought up and conditioned, to think that healing and helping and loving is taking on other people's stuff. And it's not. And I'm a reformed empath here. Still loving, still kind, still of service, but I don't pick up the junk anymore. Okay, but for you, it was real hard. Okay, and I don't know, is it okay if I talk about your family, or would you rather I did not? It feels to me like something came from your relationship, that you learned how to do this, and that this was what love was. Okay, you're very sweet, and you carry a lot. Okay, so I would work on that, on the boundary issue, on understanding that loving someone else is actually not doing for them, and getting comfortable with other people's suffering. Now that's really hard. That sounds really mean. Kind of be comfortable with other people hurting. Well, the reason is that, again, this is an attraction-based universe, right? And we're all connected. So if you think of it that way, right, would it help the universe if I feel bad because someone else feels bad? No, that brings the vibe down. If I can hold my well-being, even when other people are suffering, it brings everybody up. That doesn't mean that I say, like, I feel fine and I don't care about you. Not at all. It means that I feel fine and I know you can get here too. And I believe in you. It also means that in myself, in the areas where I don't feel fine, I have a lot of love and compassion for myself. Right? I don't try to fix it or change it or resist it, because often that desire to help is to try to fix people's pain rather than just allowing it. But when we allow things, that's where they transform. So I do that within, and I also do that for my clients. I say, I know this is really hard. I love you. I see you. I support you, and I know you have everything in you to get where you need to go. Because we all have that spiritual connection. We all have the resources we need, and sometimes we can't find them. We don't see them, and it's really hard, and I'm sending you love if that feels like you right now. Come on, for real. I have 5 minutes or have one? Thank God. Thank you. So does that help? In terms of modalities, for you specifically, you're very organized. Does that sound like you? You're very, very organized, and you're very good at like helping other people. Like, I can see you creating workbooks for organization tools. Does that make sense? So I would think about that. Like, you're just really good at showing people step by step what they need to do. Okay? And helping people distillate the ideas in their mind. And all the diverse things into like an action plan. Does that resonate? Yeah. I think you're still figuring it out, but I do feel like you probably always want a helping career. But even if you were like a secretary, or we don't call them that, administrative assistant, or like you bring your loving nature to everything that you do. Okay? And this is more generally for everybody, but where you're feeling into, I'm a healer, but what healing modality do I want to do? Or like, let it find you. Often our minds trying to figure things out. Because when we're walking on the path, we think that we need to know the whole route. And sometimes if we get the whole route, it's really nice, but the route even changes, right? Because say I'm driving from San Diego to Phoenix, which I will not do. But say the person next to me, if I made that drive, I was like, God bless you. But I'm doing it right there, and that's a terrible example because I don't think there's a lot of options. But I came from the Northeast, so if I'm driving from Connecticut to New York, right? There's about 1 million ways to get to Manhattan from Connecticut, right? And they're going to change based on the traffic, based on if I want to stop at this restaurant. So we can have a general idea, even of the long-term plan, but we have to be flexible for things to change. And oftentimes, too, especially when we're going into a new venture, right? We may not have enough information to even know the final destination. But we just have a general idea of where we want to go. And that's okay. It's not a bad thing. It's actually a really lovely way to explore, right? Yesterday I went for a walk and I was like, I kind of want to see where SoulSearch is and see how long a walk it's going to be. And I walked a little bit in that direction. I was like, okay, I've seen enough. Now I want to go back this way, right? So oftentimes we can learn by exploring, okay? So feel into what's fun. Try different things. right? Let the path unfold. Follow the breadcrumbs, because that's often the most delightful way to live your life. And remember, as you have more information, things are going to change. Of course, could change. It could totally be GPS, totally reroute, right? And that's as it should be. But if we're very like stubbornly saying, I have to know this, this, and this, and this, and this, and this before I step out the door, we might limit ourselves. Okay? Take a sip of tea. This is such a fun question. The thing is, you never know where they're going to go, or what they're going to take. But this is really hard to read. Jane, what should I expect in 2025? Just Jane mind identifying herself so I can get a read. Hi, Jane. What can you expect in 2025? 2024 for you was like fits and starts. Like if I see your face, you're just like, like I don't think it was as terrible as you think it was, but I wasn't there. But it just was like, it feels like it was a little bit frustrating. It was a little bit, I go this way and then I go that way, and it wasn't really organized. For 2025, I feel that you're going to continue to experience that energy until about March. Okay? And I don't want this to be a bad thing. I want it to be a really good thing where you can start to work on and just embrace this idea that sometimes we have like a forward path and sometimes we're meandering. And right now you're just meandering and you're tying up a lot of loose ends. Does that resonate? Okay. And I want you to use the first 3 months of the year to have grace with yourself, to be kind with yourself, to not beat yourself up because everything isn't going exactly how you want it to, because that will actually not make it go back. It won't. This is great. Right? And also to start to reflect on what you would like to let go of. Okay? Not from I have to pick up these heavy boulders and throw them away kind of energy, but just as I don't have to stub my toe on that anymore. I can let it be there. It's okay, but I don't really want to engage with that anymore. Does that make sense what I said? And I think if you do that, when the spring comes out and the tulips blossom, we're in Arizona, so I don't know if that happens here. It does? Cool, okay. Right? When the tulips blossom, you're going to have like a very fresh perspective. And I have the image of you like picking the little blossom bouquet, setting it in a jar, and kind of making a new start where I think things are going to be a little more harmonious for you. Okay? But you have this time now to watch the stubbing of toes, because I feel there's a lot of things that don't want to move, and rather than trying to lift them and bump into them, you're going to learn to let them be there, and then, find what is flowing. Does that make sense? So much love. Okay. I think too. Okay. I love what messages. Usually I tell people to give me a focus question, and I skip that part, but that's okay. Wow. All right, Renee, what message do you have for me? Again, I need to see your face. I'm gonna tune into you. And I met you last time, right? You look familiar. I've never met you before. No, that's not possible. No, are you sure last year when I was here? Another one? I know you. No, I mean, it's uncanny. I don't usually get this experience. I looked at you 1,000 times and I was like, I know. Okay, well, I still think I do. I interact with somehow, I'm going to figure it out. All right, so what messages do you have for me? Wow, you've had a lot going on if I tune into your energy quickly. And I feel like the last couple of years have been a lot for you. I feel kind of like the energy of you've kind of like run a race, climbed a mountain, built a house, tore down a house, built another house, and like you just were trying to catch your breath. Does that resonate? Okay. And you guys, first of all, want you to know that you did a really good job. Right? That is really good. And that this start to find yourself as somebody who rises to the challenge anymore. Don't look enough of that. Don't define yourself as the person that worked so hard and persevered. Okay, all those things are true. You own that badge of honor, right? But start to figure out what it is that brings you joy, that's easy, that's flowing. Like, it does not have to be so hard. Okay, did you move here recently? Are you having second thoughts? Okay, good. You're just visiting. Okay, perfect. Yeah, because it felt like there's some unsureness about geographical, long-term positioning of your geographical location. Yeah, and it may not be here, but it feels like you're getting used to the fun. But what they really want you to know is don't define yourself by past hardship. Say, those past hardship helped me get where I am now and know even more what I want moving forward. And then let it go. Does that make sense? Don't make that your, doesn't have to be your blueprint moving forward. You're done with it. Okay? I swear to God, I know. So much fun. I was so sure. All right. Go. Sandra. Okay. What is the most important thing for me to hear right now? I am never doing this again. From now on, when you come back to the next soul search, I'm going to remember to take a focused question. I mean, it's still working, but it's just, it takes me a little longer to go. All right, Sandra. Sandra Lana. Oh, well, that's why your cards were together. You're not going to believe me, but I knew that too. But I saw you. I was like, I bet you she's not. All right, similar question. Yeah, I feel some energy of frustration, some energy of exhaustion, but your exhaustion is different. I feel like you've been pulling, like, it's not a wagon, it's a trailer. Like, you've been pulling a trailer behind you for like months now, and you just want to like stop it. Instead of laughing, really tired. Is your health okay? Yeah, and I feel there's a little bit of, especially in your chest, in your legs. I don't like feel anything, but it just feels like your health, like you're just tired, physically tired, and I do feel that that energy here right now is good for you health-wise. So I would stay as long as you need to for that. However, you need to hydrate more, and it's not water that you need. So, not giving medical advice, always check if you're allergic to what I tell you. You know what comes through from your guidance. I'm hearing it wrong, don't do it. But I feel like kind of like coconut water, like those kind of like, you need a little more fluid nutrients. Does that make sense? I don't know if you're doing something like that already, but you really need that. And the other thing that would really help you with your health is anything with your feet. Have your feet rubbed, reflexology. That would be very soothing for you. Help you get grounded, right to sleep. Like when I love reflexology, but I'm getting this for you. But when I get my feet, all my massage therapists do is start with my feet, because once they start rubbing my feet, I'm just okay. And you need that. You need to be in that hypnagogic state where you're really relaxed, where you're really cared for, and everything doesn't feel so hard. Right? Acupuncture is good too if you like that, but it has to be someone really gentle, not the. Okay, but I definitely feel like stuff with your feet would help, and please stay hydrated while you're in this desert, because it's just something you need. The other thing I get is, I don't know if this is a thing, do people drink the juice or the it's not aloe, but the pulp of a cactus? Okay, that's something that would be very good for you. Again, always check with your doctor. I'm not giving you medical advice. I have zero medical training. Okay, so I hope that helps. I'm sending you so much love. I do think you're on the mend. But it's about you learning to take care of yourself and rest. Does that sound right? Okay, letting you go. How are you doing with time? Okay, got it. All right, so I can do a couple. Are other people getting messages yet? Anyone heard their stuff yet in any of this? All right, whoops, that was the wrong direction. Ooh, good question. Evelyn wants to know if her book will be successful. All right.
louder, sorry, the door.
Of course, Evelyn wants to know if her book will be successful. Oh my God, I have the loudest. They put me right across from the entry table, and I was like, that could be a mistake because I have such a booming loud voice. But we'll see yet. Okay, will my book be successful? There's a lot of anxiety in here with you around this. This is our creative center, so that kind of makes sense. But it's like you birthed the baby, it's most of the way out, but you're like, I don't know where it's gonna go. I actually, my first thought, my rational thought was to find success, right? Because success can be a lot of different things. And I've actually had quite a few guests on my podcast, and readings on the podcast. I actually had 2 guests on the podcast who both wrote books. And what the guide said about their books was, look at how much you gain from writing them, right? One guy was like, it's not as successful as I want it to be. I was like, oh, were there any gains? Met my wife. That's pretty good, changed the entire, processed 10 years of significant grief, significant trauma. Sounds good, So again, oftentimes in the human accounting, success means a very specific thing, right? I look at my retreat that I've built over the last couple of years, but we're doing okay. While being successful monetarily, that would be nice. I love that passive stream of income. Met so many friends, established myself in a new environment, got to lead and run retreats, which is something I'd never done before, got to experience this magical property, right? So if the outcome is, I did this for a couple of years and then I sold it and I go do something else, it's not a fail. It's not a fail. Like, it's a series of experiences. But oftentimes we hinge our work and well-being, right? This idea that our success has to be manifested in a particular way. So I invite you to disavow yourself with that notion, whatever your thing is, and start to just look at the gains of living your life. And then any outward success that you have is just fun too. It's not that you can't want that, you can't enjoy that, but if we hinge ourselves on that kind of pass-fail test, right, we miss all the fun along the way. That said, I do think that for you, your book will be successful on the metrics that you define success. Okay, so I do think it will be beneficial for you in the way that you want it to. I think it will enhance your career, which is what I think you want it to do. And I think you will be pleased with the results. Okay, so I hope that one helps. But the bigger message I wanted to get through before I answered your question. All right, I think I have time for at least one. According to my thing, I have time for 8 more minutes. All right. Okay. This is a good one from Marta, who wants to know who is her guide. And I know I'm an empath. Do I have any other psychic gifts? I'm going to go for number 2 on that. Because I just last night came up with this new thing that I'm going to offer. I wanted to have like an easy, quick offering. So for $35, which is really cool, I will introduce you to one of your guides. So I can do that at this table, but I'm also going to do it via email. So stay tuned for that. And tomorrow, if you come back, I'm going to lead everyone on a little meditation where you can meet one of your guides too. So lots of fun there. So I'm going to hit the other part of that question. Although you do, she says it and then she undoes it. You have one little guide showing up that has the energy of like a clown. Okay, but in the best possible way. And this is an uplifter. And the energy of this guide is to teach you not to take things so seriously, but also you tend to, if I'm reading correctly, be a little bit rigid in the way that you do things, right? There's a feeling like you got to do this step, this step, and this step. There's one right way to do everything. And what this guide is helping you to do is to shake that up, to break that up. There isn't always one right way. There's multiple right ways. And so I think you'd have more fun if, you put the left shoe on first rather than the right shoe on every single time. Does that make sense? So, it's up to you. But that's what that guide is sharing with you, is that they're there to help you have some more fun and lightness, enjoy, and not take things quite so seriously, right? Which would be of great benefit to you. And I'll answer your other question too. And you're asking me the name of that guide. And The name of that guy that I'm getting for you is Laughs a Lot. Laughs a lot. Laughs a lot. Like Laughs a Lot the clown. Okay? He doesn't actually look like a clown. He looks kind of like from a Latin American type culture. So like the one that's supposed to kind of make everybody light, but it's like what I would interpret as a clown. He's not dressed like a clown, but he has that kind of energy of just shaking things up and making things fun. He says, I'm an entertainer. And he's someone that you knew in another lifetime. Okay? And your other question, do I have any other psychic gifts? We all have lots of psychic gifts. And I think these two questions are related for you. I think that as you learn more to relax a little bit, to not feel like there's one right way to do things, to have a little bit more joy, to shake things up, your gifts are just going to tumble out of you in a much more easy way. Okay? And being an empath is a gift. It's absolutely a gift because it helps us to have perspective. It helps us to understand other people, what they're feeling. And so it gives us compassion, which is a really nice thing. But that's it. After that, you really don't need it. I can ping somebody and tune in for a second and know what they're feeling. I'm very energy sensitive, so I can sense people's energy. I can work on their energy, right? I can shift their energy. I can shift my energy. But oftentimes, empath, we think of, we're tuning into what I would call the pain channel, right? And you have amazing channels, like a million channels that you can tap into energetically. All the channels are playing at once. So if you could tap into any channel, why would you consistently tap into the pain channel, right? So I often say with empaths, and this takes to your thing, learn to connect to the joy channels. Because you deserve it. One more. Is it going to be? Last one, I swear. It's going to drive me bonkers. Oh, I love this name, Buffy. How do I protect my energy without blocking anything? Such a good question. Meant for me, meaning open to receive opportunities and experiences and meet questions. Buffy, I love that question so much. That is so well put and so kind. And the first thing I would say is you don't need to protect your energy. You don't need to protect your energy, right? Be kind to yourself, be loving to yourself, be discerning, and don't be afraid. Because oftentimes when we think of protecting, we think that there's a threat, right? And so we're walling ourselves off or blocking ourselves off. But because of law of attraction, right, what we do in fear creates more fear. What we do in love, particularly in this case for you, self-love, self-honoring, will bring more of those things. So trust yourself to have the discernment, even if you don't have it right away, of who's a good fit for you and who's not. And you may have a couple things where you attract someone into your space and you think they're okay, and then you realize they're not. Great, you have information. At any moment that someone doesn't feel that they're resonant with you, then you can make that choice to say, I honor who you are, but I'm not interested, and let them go. But you don't have to do that from a place of fear. Do it from a place of discernment. Doing it from a place of curiosity. And while you're at it, set the intention to bring more resonant relationships and friendships into your life and ask to know the difference. So you're going to start to move from a place of trust and a place of discernment rather than a place of I need to protect myself and keep everything out. Does that help? Does that make sense? All right. I think, all right, 3 more minutes. I'll do one more. I'm really fast. This was really fun. I have a booth right over there. Come. If you guys send me, what's the thing I'm offering? I'm going to be back tomorrow, and I'm also offering to anyone in this room, if you send me a text, you can find my card. It's 917-583-2259. With your name and your email, I will send you for free my Meet Your Spirit Guides class, or I can't remember what it's called right now. It's an online class. You can get that for free, and that would augment what we're going to do tomorrow. So if you text me, 917-583-2259, and I'll also send you a link or maybe a little something for the Meet Your Guides thingamajiggle that I'm now offering. 917-583-2259. Or you can come grab my card. It's right on there. I'm just come come get a reading from me. It'll be really, really fun. I love that for you guys. Come check out my podcast, check out Living in Alignment on SoulSearch TV. And I have an intuition development class online starting in 3 weeks. Anyone can text me to that number also. Let me know if you're interested in that. I will give you $50 off if you sign up. So that's everything that I can think of. I'll do one more even though I'm going to get in trouble. What is my next step in receiving my gifts? Anita. Anita, your next step for discovering your gifts very, very, very quickly is to be you. To be you, to be who you are, to be authentic. And discover what you love and what you like, what feels right to you, and don't try to do what you think you should do or what you think other people want you to do. Guys, this has been so much fun. Thank you. I hope to see you guys all again.